Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new broadcast of Throw Like a Girl Radio. I'm Alyssa Paolicelli.
And I'm KaraAnne and Galante.
Today is Thursday, April 21st, a beautiful Thursday afternoon, one of our final episodes. It's getting down to the wire. No. It's very sad. As you know, from Thursdays from 1 to 2 is the time to tune in and listen to WBCR's first all-female sports talk show. If you're listening to us, you're doing so in a number of different ways. You may be streaming off of mywbcr.com, or you downloaded the TuneIn Radio app and listen and search Brooklyn College Radio. If you're missing us live this week, or you're listening to us on our podcast on YouTube or iTunes, they're always up and the day after, so always making sure you're checking our YouTube and iTunes account by searching Throw Like a Girl Radio. As always, thank you in advance for listening to us. All of you have been around for all 3 semesters, the ones who have come and gone, and come back to hear what we've had to say every week after week. Your support is always appreciated. If you aren't doing so already, follow us on all social media accounts, facebook.com/throwlikeagirlradio, Twitter @throwlikeA_girl. You can tweet us your thoughts throughout the show, to ask us some questions, whatever you'd like. You can find us on Instagram, Throw Like a Girl Radio. We just posted a picture today.
Yes, we did. So like it.
If you want to email us any suggestions or you want to ask for a specific episode, we can do that with our email, throwlikeagirlradio@gmail.com.
Well, round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs is heating up. The MLB is in full swing, and the NFL draft is right around the corner. Plus, guys, David Ortiz stole a base, which I found pretty
That's like
shocking.
the first time since, 2013?
Yeah, so what is going on in baseball? There is so much to talk about today. We have a great show for you today, and if you would like to take part in this greatness/awesomeness/superbness, call in to chime in, 718-951-4444. Again, the number is 718-951-4444. It's the number to call, give your 2 cents, give us suggestions, vent to us about your team, and yeah, so we're going to start off today's segment with our Woman of the Week. And I really want to do Cindy Crosby, which Alyssa made.
Which kind of goes against everything we say on the show every week, but that's besides the point.
I know, it is. It is. But since the Rangers are versing the Penguins, I thought it would be fitting. But instead, we transitioned to Barb Lazarus, who is totally deserving of this honor this week.
So, if you don't know who she is, she spoke actually yesterday at the ESPNW Chicago Summit, and she's the co-founder and current owner of Game On, and it's a sports camp for girls. It's a multi-sport summer day camp that empowers girls ages 4 to 14 for their athletic abilities and develop or enhance their passion for sports, and also develop leadership skills on and off the field, court, ice, what have you. It was established in 2007, and she has twice participated on the ESPNW Summit, and co-founded ESPNW Chicago Sports Connection, which, like I said, met on Wednesday. Today's Thursday. Met on Wednesday, and it's a newly formed group committed to connecting and promoting women and girls in Chicago's sporting community.
Oh, it does. And what was it? She was awarded the ESPNW Toyota Everyday Hero Award in 2013, and there was this tweet that went around Twitter, and it says, "No young girl should have a fear of playing sports." And I feel like that's kind of her platform, just bringing awareness to sports with young women, because a lot of times, a lot of females, they stop playing sports in middle school. She was bringing up too. Because also the way they're being coached and being perceived too, and like the confidence issues you have when you're young, because when you go through puberty, there's a lot of confidence issues that come with it. And she wanted this Game On to be an outlook for women too, not just for playing sports, because she felt that playing sports also shaped her into the woman that she is today, this confident woman that she is today. And I don't know, I think what she's doing is great. And also, you have to pay for this camp too, but she's given a lot of scholarships out because she wants every female to have this opportunity to be a part of this camp.
And when I look back on my adolescent life and my middle school days, and even up until college, playing sports was such a huge part of my life. And I think that if I had not been for that, you learn so many lessons on the field that transpire well off the field.
No, it's true.
Discipline, leadership, things like that, humility.
Yeah.
All those things I think are really important. And it's sad when girls stop playing sports after a certain age because of what the public perception is around girls playing sports at that age. You know what I mean? As you get older, you get made fun of, things like that. Oh, you're such a boy, blah, blah. But I think it's really important for girls to continue playing sports throughout their lives, because it just, like I said, it teaches you so many things. And I don't think I'd be the person I was today had I not been involved in pretty much every single sport growing up.
I know that's true. I feel like I wouldn't be where I am today and how I am today, personality-wise, and how I bring about myself and how people perceive me as a result of sports. I think it's a big thing that females should be a part of.
And it helps you set goals for yourself because you want to succeed on the field.
I'm more driven.
Right.
I'm more driven. I feel like without sports, I wouldn't be the driven person I am today, too. Just accomplishing a goal, because sports teaches you that you have to work hard in order to achieve something, and you're instilled with that concept at a young age. If you start playing sports at maybe, 8 years old, even younger than that, 4 years old, I think that's instilled in you. So what she's doing is great, and I do appreciate everything she's doing. So join the camp. It's called Game On.
It's only available. I think there's a couple other locations, I believe, that you have to be able to search on the website. But really cool stuff.
Yeah, and she brings during these camps, she brings women in to teach.
Yeah, and she's currently working on starting with this ESPNW Chicago Sports Connection, a new project where they develop a mentor program that will pair successful professional athletes, female athletes, with aspiring young female athletes, which I think is really cool, especially in that area. Chicago is a hotbed, obviously, for sports. And,
yeah, it is.
I think it would just be that'd be awesome growing up being, someone who has the dream to become a professional athlete as a girl, when it's so hard to do that, and you're being able to being mentored and coached through it by someone who's already there. That's awesome.
Yeah. I love that. I love that idea, and I love what she's doing, so keep doing what you're doing, and just keep a lookout for her on each ESPNW. They have a summit. I feel like they're having a summit in every state.
They have I think 4 or 5 a year, which is pretty cool. And I have yet to call it any. Maybe this is our invitation to try and get ourselves invited.
I know, we should get invited. I don't know. Hopefully in the future we'll be there, guys. But we're going to also now start with our woman to watch of the week, and she's been making a lot of headlines this week. Her name is Elena Del Don.
And if you don't know, we talked about this a few weeks ago. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was about 2 weeks ago, about lowering of the rim controversy that has come out of the WNBA, which I don't know why it's such a big controversy.
Well, that's what she's been talking about. Yeah. She said that she was actually a proponent and the one who was very advocate about lowering the rim. And people were like, oh, you're doing it for your own benefit because then you'll be able to dunk and blah, blah, blah. But she kind of she sent out a tweet that I also tweeted out from our account that was... Yeah. Had no words. It was just a video of her dunking on a 10-foot rim, which is NBA regulation, and it basically just saying, it's backing up her argument that I'm not doing this for my benefit. I can dunk on a 10-foot rim or lower. Yeah. So it's not like and then there's a quote that she said at the summit yesterday. You can't lie to yourself. It's fun to watch people dunk. So this is something that we spoke about a couple weeks ago, but
yeah, I think it is fun to watch people dunk, right. But I don't think it should be the basis of why you're watching a game, and I don't think it should be that big of a deal.
But it's also just to increase the
viewership.
Offensive opportunities, offensive success. So, I mean, like we said when we spoke about it a couple weeks ago, leagues across all the leagues are trying to figure out how to do that, how to create more scoring, how to create more runs, by making all these new rules so that because people like to see offense.
No, I know. I definitely agree that people do like seeing offense. And her offensive game has increased substantially over the years. She's actually a forward for the Chicago Sky. She's named WNBA MVP. And also, which I love this statistic, she has one of the best free throw percentages in the NBA and in the WNBA. Her free throw percentage is 93.9%, higher than Steve Nash, who is at 90%. So I think the free throw it's not the hardest shot, but it's kind of the most pressure on you because you're just given these 2 shots out of nowhere. And she just says it just takes a lot of mentality to just make those shots. And I really do appreciate how she's gone about her career, too, and the accomplishments she's made, too.
I mean, I'm not I don't have any type of basketball mind in me, but I always thought that the free throw shot were the easiest because they were just a routine shot.
Yeah, but there's a lot that goes into it. With me, I used to play basketball, and with your free throw, there's a lot of technique that goes behind it, too, just to make that shot. Because a lot of people think, it's the easiest shot to make, but I think it takes time and to just make that switch. Because Shaq was, like, the worst free throw shooter ever. He couldn't even get that technique down, which I don't understand why, but that's another story in and of itself. I just don't understand. Like, when you watch the NBA and they miss free throw shots, I'm always like, are you kidding me? Everyone should be able to make those, no problem. But I know if you make it to the NBA, you should make it in.
This is me coming from a non-basketball mindset at all. So
yeah, that's true as the viewer. But we'll see what happens with this free throw shooting. And also, I wanted to not the free throw shooting, the lowering of the rim controversy, but I wanted to bring up also that why don't they focus on the size of the ball?
That is smaller.
WNBA's ball is smaller than the NBA, so why are they focusing on lowering the rim? Let's just focus on the...
So you're thinking that they should make the ball the same size?
Yeah, I like the idea of the same size. If we're going to lower the rim, I think it's the same size. I don't think there's such like a huge difference with the ball.
I don't think that the lowering of the rim is anything to be... I don't know. I just think that it's something, like I said, they're trying to create more offense in the game so that you can catch the casual fan, because I say this all the time with baseball. Yeah, really great pitching is awesome for someone who's into baseball. But if you want to bring someone who goes to the ballpark 3 times a year, they want to see home runs. They want to see, big offensive games. Yeah. And you're not going to get that when you're going to a game and the pitching is so dominant. That's why people think baseball is boring to go and watch, because they like to see players at the ball. And like this day and age, starting pitching is so great that it's less and less you're seeing offensive production on the team. So I think that, again, this is just the WNBA realizing, okay, we need to build a casual fan base. We need a bigger market, and this is the way we're going to do it. Yep. Like I said, I don't know why people are getting all up in hands about it. I don't even think the size of the ball really matters.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that they're not focusing on that either. They're not focusing on the size of the ball. I feel like, why are we focusing on the rim? Let's look at the ball as well, because I think that's a bigger difference that's going on between the WNBA and the NBA. But
like I said, I don't think it's a difference that they're trying to make up between the NBA and the WNBA. I think it's more of just we're trying to grow the game. Yeah. And
that could be an easier way to grow the game.
And lowering lowering the rim isn't changing the nature of the game, but the ball is, because, I mean, this is, again, I'm not any shape or form a basketball expert, but I would imagine that the mechanics of your shot changes depending on the size of the ball, just like physically speaking. You're going to hold your hands a different way when you're shooting because the ball is a different size.
I could feel the difference between the women and man's basketball. I feel like I have to push more with the men's basketball besides the women's one, but I don't know.
And the men's basketball probably weighs more because it's bigger.
It does. So it is bigger.
That essentially is changing mechanics of the game, where lowering the rim, I don't think it necessarily does. But again, I could be wrong about that. But I don't think it's anything they're trying to make the game more like the men's game. I think they're just trying to grow the women's game to be something that people want to watch.
Yeah. I just hope there's going to be critics out there just saying that accomplishment isn't as good as what men are doing, because there's obviously going to be critics, and that's what I want to avoid, that in improving women's game, because there's always that person that has to compare, and I just want to get rid of that comparison for once.
And that was like that quote that we read last week from Megan
Rapinoe.
Yes, and she said that, something along, this is not the exact quote, but something along the lines is, we have a good product and we want to be good because we're good, not because we're second best.
Yeah, but I feel like that there's always going to be that comparison, and that's the struggle that we face and that we're going to have for years to come, and it's not going to go away. That's stigma. And also there's this other stigma going on that we're going to go to our article of the week. That there's an article that Julie DeCara wrote.
Oh, she's just like the best writer ever.
I think it's so good. It's so good. And she wrote in Sports Illustrated, it's actually the Cauldron, a part of Sports Illustrated, and it's called "What Sports Writers Get Wrong About Violence Against Women." So this is another stigma that we are trying to pass for once, and it got some backlash by a couple of sports writers, particularly Mike Freeman. He tweeted something out the other day saying that this doesn't apply to every sports writer.
I do agree with that.
I think that too.
It's so essentially the article is about how sports reporters, when they cover instances or stories that coincide with violence against women, they never report on it correctly. And now this has been we have to understand that this has been a topic of conversation for the past X amount of years, that we need to figure out how the appropriate language around these types of things. So this has been something like recently was it only that you're supposed to refer to sexual assault survivors as survivors and not victims. Like, that was not always a precedent in the past. So this is something that people are learning as they go and changing. But I do think that when there are cases that do so frequently overlap with violence against women, that it should be like a piece that is worked on by more than just a sports reporter, because that's not where their expertise lies.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Or it should be an article written about someone who's on a crime beat, who's on something that can speak or has the background in this type of
like these investigative journalists instead of these sports journalists, because you see it focuses more on the sports aspect of it.
But exactly, the thing is, that's one of the main points she made, is that they are humanizing the athlete into a way. It's kind of like, oh my God, this terrible thing just like happened.
Yeah,
to
it just
him.
came. It just came out of nowhere. Like he was.
Like it wasn't something he would ever do because he's this all American athlete and like since forever, and it's just one night, one mistake.
Yeah.
When you can't, but there's no mention of how this affects the future plans of the survivor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people I just think that we expect, and I said this a couple weeks ago on the show, we expect sports reporters to be so versed in all sports, which I think takes away a tremendous authenticity of sports reporting. Yeah. I don't think it's bad to have a specialization in one sport. I think that you get more authentic with that.
Yeah,
but
you get more knowledge.
You can't expect somebody to report on who's a NFL reporter and be able to be well versed in sexual assault against women. Like it's just
and even the criminal justice aspect of it too,
right.
like knowing the backgrounds of what's going on with the court.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that it has to be something that makes from an editorial standpoint, someone who's like, okay, go cover the story. Anybody can look up Greg Hardy and get his stats for the season. That's something that even if you don't know sports, you can write in an article and you can understand he was A, successful,
basic
B,
facts.
Right.
That's all.
But then there's something that's like this. I think it needs to be something that is worked on together by someone who does have the experience, so it is handled correctly.
No, you're right. Because a lot of with sports reporting that I'm learning so far is that people just want the facts, basic facts, and just put it out to you, something easy to read. But this, you need more background information about it, and personally, you need more background information about it. And I just think a lot of it starts off, a lot of the articles I've noticed starts off with their accomplishments, but then, dun dun dun, this happened. And it's like, okay, this doesn't, like you said before, this is not just sprung on you. Like, the athlete had to have physically done something for this woman or this male to force accusations on you and to convict you of something.
And I mean, I read this is what I wanted to talk to you about this week too. I read a really great article last week about the Kobe Bryant.
Yes, on thinkprogress.org.
Yes, on thinkprogress.org. And
I read that too.
And it was the first time that they spoke about the woman who came up with the charges against Kobe Bryant, and how it was the first time they talked about her future and like what her past has entailed since the allegations came to be.
Yeah.
And I think that this is such a tricky line to navigate, because a lot of the time when you are a victim of this and you are bringing up these charges, you don't want to talk about what the impacts are. You're still coping with the trauma of it. Yeah. So being able to, I think it's one of those things where, you want to be able to report on how this is going to affect the plans of the future of the affected. Yeah. But, they can't talk to you because they're not allowed to. But on the other side of this, these guys are taught to talk to the media and be like, make yourself look the best. It's a whole PR thing.
Yeah, with Greg Hardy, with the redemption tour, there's always a redemption tour for the athlete, how he's going to overcome this.
Because they have a platform for a redemption tour. Survivors of this types of thing do not.
Yeah, but it makes it sound like how he's going to overcome this, that something personally happened to him. He's the one he or she's the one who actually did it. Right. So why is this such a redemption? How is
But it's a redemption because they actually have a space to redeem themselves on. When you're just if you're a regular student at a college who gets sexually assaulted by a star athlete, they can go on the field on Sunday and prove themselves to be a better person because they play well on the field. You still gotta go to class, and no one, and you're just like the day before, except you went through this horrific thing. Yeah, there's no place for you to be like, this is me. There's no outlet
that they have. Right. Yeah, and some of them don't want that outlet to speak about it because they don't want to be back in the press anymore, because you see how the press sometimes attacks the victim too, like in that Kobe Bryant piece. The victim, the whole story was spinned around on her and how she's ruining his life when in reality he ruined her life.
Right. It was a story of, will he be ever to be able to come back from this? Not like, oh my God,
look at what
he's done.
Yeah. What he actually, there was so much evidence to back up on it, but I feel like evidence written down and visually seeing it, people aren't affected as much by it. Like with Greg Hardy, you see the victim's bruises and things like that, and people are affected by it. But what gets me a little aggravated is what Adam Schefter, last week, I think it was. Or 2
And he has
weeks
a
ago.
daughter. Let's keep that in mind.
When he interviewed Greg Hardy and just saying how he was such a soft-spoken guy and how nice he was.
I just don't understand
and how
why.
You see he's sympathetic towards what happened. He denied what happened like 20 times during that
Also,
interview.
you don't think that before this interview there have been weeks and weeks of preparation by his agent being like, you can't say this. For the one time he was actually prepped before going into an interview. Not to mention every other time after the allegations he went out and said stupid comments and things of that nature. He was successfully taught by his PR team to be like, avoid this type of language. We're going to go through this every single time. I'm sure there was some type of agreement with Scheffner saying this is the questions I'm going to be asking because
there has to be some type of.
I think that it's a weird. This is something that everyone is still learning about, and I don't think that it can be spoken about and written about in the right way for anybody if you're coming from a background of strictly sports because it's not where expertise lies.
But do you feel like, here's a question, do you feel like this article that Julie DeCaro wrote, do you feel like it would have been perceived differently if a man wrote it?
I mean, yeah, I do think that this because
like,
I think
let's say
that
Adam
there's
Schaefer,
always...
if he wrote an article like this, do you think it would have gotten even bigger buzz and been taken more positively by people?
I don't know if it would necessarily been taken. I think it because there are plenty of people. There are plenty of reporters who, male reporters who speak on behalf of. Like think about the Sean King article from Peyton Manning.
Oh yeah, and
like,
I heard, did you hear
about what?
That he got fired by the New York Daily News.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. I read that too.
But I just think there are plenty of people who take a stance on this type of thing.
Yeah.
Like even the Patrick Kane incident, there were plenty of male hockey reporters who were writing about it. And, and I just think that it's like I said, it's something that is people
like
are still learning how to talk about
Yeah.
and still learning how to appropriately write about and report on. And it's no matter what, because think about it, even in the legal system, the legal system is years and years and years behind this type of thing.
No, they
years
are.
behind.
No, they are. They don't know how to handle it.
Even so much so is like you're not supposed to use the victim's name. That all the time just happens to come out when it's a high-profile athlete. All the time that happens.
I know.
So there's just like this constant lag for some reason behind.
But then
this
if
type
the
of
athlete's name doesn't come out, then it's like,
not
what are you hiding?
No, it's the athlete's name always comes out. It's the survivor or victim's name.
Yeah.
That is supposed to remain confidential.
Yeah.
Until whatever public
whatever
hearing
he
they
or
have.
she is
Right.
ready to just go out to the world
So
and say
it's just
happened.
it's a combination of society being far behind, the legal system being far behind, and then the media trying to figure out the best way to navigate this type of conversation. And I think that is the biggest problem.
No, it is a big problem. I feel like it also the culture that we all live in now, that sports is just the number one thing in our lives, and we idolize these athletes to a point, and we worship these athletes to a point where they can't do no wrong. And when you see that they're doing wrong, we have to figure out a way to show the story to a way that presented to the fans that they're going to come back and support this athlete as a result.
Because if you think about it, like if let's take the Jameis Winston fan. If I'm a diehard Winston supporter
and this comes
out, I want to know more about him than her because he's my guy.
Yeah, so like
regardless, he's my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about if Henrik Lundqvist, something like that, you're gonna be like, oh my God, Henrik Lundqvist, are you kidding me? Like, he couldn't have.
No, yeah.
And then when someone's gonna be like, making this whole like romanticizing his appearance on the ice and like the kind of Henrik Lundqvist Foundation and all this stuff, you're gonna be like, well, like, how could he have done this?
Yeah,
like,
he's such a great guy.
It plays off of the weakness of a sports fan being like, I bleed the color of these teams and I don't care. Almost.
And it's gonna also make you want to read the article of the journalist who's writing it, because if the journalist goes against what you perceive as this athlete to be, I'm not going to read this guy's stuff anymore, this girl's stuff anymore. No way. I'm not going to do that because you're going against my love of Henrik Lundqvist
or whoever, fill in the blank athlete that you're a big fan of.
Yeah, or anyone. Like,
yeah.
It's just it's insane, but we'll see what happens and we'll see how the media changes.
And there's a bunch of different media outlets have guidelines of how you're supposed to talk and how you're supposed to report on and write and edit around these types of
because
cases,
that's what gets readership too. Like that guideline brought them thousands and thousands and millions of readers.
No, but I mean like formal guidelines, like you are supposed to report, like whether it be using certain types of language, things like that. There are actual principles and things you're supposed to navigate around, which were linked up in that Kobe Bryant article that we were just speaking about.
Yeah.
And people just, even that is not enough.
No, it's never enough.
Like I said, everyone's just behind on the curve on this, and neither you nor I or pretty much anybody else has an appropriate solution to fixing the problem.
There isn't. You're right. But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and see how journalism is changing, maybe for the good. With that Think Progress article, I thought it was changing somewhat for the good to just read something like that. But now we're going to take a little break. Guys, it's the NHL playoffs, which Alyssa and I are excited, but we're a little nervous and hesitant to talk. But right now, here is some post-game sound from the Rangers' disappointing loss on Tuesday.
A lot of good things, but overall, I don't think this was enough. To beat the Pittsburgh Penguins right now, you need a really strong game from everyone, starting with myself.
You know the core of this team. How do you expect it to respond for Game 4?
Well, we just have to, like I said, watch some tape and talk about it. What can we do better here to generate more chances? Because that, bottom line, that's what we need to do here. Defensively, we play pretty good. We just have to get in front of their goalie and create more chances in traffic, and I think good things will happen there.
What was it like to have Ryan McDonough back out there?
It was great to see him back. Wish we could have a better result, though. It's always good to see guys come back. I practiced yesterday, but right now, it's disappointing. Come home after a really strong performance in Pittsburgh, but it's first to four, and they've always been good on the road, and we have to respect that. We have to, like I said, come back with a really strong 8 performance from 21 guys here in the next game.
You guys are so used to playing them in the postseason and coming back in series. Can you draw on that experience?
Yes and no. I think you learn from every year. Doesn't matter who you play. If it's Pittsburgh or another team right now, you try to learn from this game, and like I said, you try to correct a few things. And what can we do better for the next one?
They're Like a Girl Radio is back with myself, Alyssa Paolicelli, and KaraAnne and Galante. We're here with you for another half hour. If you want to join our conversation, we're going to be talking hockey, baseball, then a little bit of basketball if we have some time. So if you want to join in at any point, the number to call is 718-951-4444. So,
okay, should we want to talk about the Rangers first?
Let's start off with not the Rangers.
Let's start with Flyers and Washington Capitals. So what do you think about this series so far?
So yesterday I watched most of the game, and the Flyers actually won. Good for them.
I'm so happy they won.
I really thought going into the series that Mason would be able to steal a game on the road for the Flyers, and they'd be able to make it an interesting series. But last night, the scariest part of last night was Scott Loudon.
Yeah.
He collided into the board after being tangled up with John Carlson, and he was put in a stretcher and stabilized on the ice, put in a stretcher, and wheeled off the ice.
Yes.
He's 21 years old, which is insane.
I know.
I think that was like his second playoff game or something like that.
Yeah.
It's really scary to see that whenever
that
happens. And you always think, okay, hopefully this is just for precautionary reason. They're taking every necessary step in order to ensure the least,
Yeah. Like, so far, all of his tests came out negative.
And he was moving his limbs when he's off the ice, which is always good.
Which is good. His test came out negative, and they just stayed him overnight at the hospital for precautionary measures. But so far, everything is well and said and done, and good for Scott. And, all right, so with the Flyers and the Capitals, there's a 3-1 series, right?
They're going back to
Washington
for Game 5. But I do think that, I don't know. I'm just we were talking about this a little bit before when we went to go get food. I think everyone in the hockey world is kind of just waiting for the Capitals to collapse. It's just
no, I'm waiting.
They always do. So why is it not happening yet?
I know, but
I mean, honestly, for Game 2, the Flyers should have won that game, and Washington wasn't even playing that well, and they still won. And that's the scary part. They're not even playing their best hockey, and they're still winning games.
Yeah, but didn't Steve Mason? I don't know, it was Game 2 or Game 1.
I think it was Game 2.
Let in the 110-foot goal,
that was
right?
terrible.
And he had a brain fart. I think Steve Mason has been consistent, and you need your goaltending to be consistent through the series because Braden Holtby has been on his game throughout the regular season. Has been the best goalie in the league this whole year.
And again, this is what we're talking about. Though, he always has this period where he gives up really crappy goals, and
so
he
I'm
just hasn't done
waiting.
that yet. And I'm like, well, when is it going to happen? Because this is just it's like clockwork with the Capitals. They're just signature choke artists in the playoffs. But this year, I don't know.
That's
they're
why the
just a
fans are
tough
so
team.
hesitant. When people ask not Flyer fans, Capital fans, what's going on and what do you expect of the team, they don't say anything because they're just waiting for something to happen. They're just hesitant. They don't want to jinx it. But so far, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe the Flyers might come back into the series after
they've done
game.
it before.
They played pretty well.
They've done it. They've done it before. They've come back from a series down 3 games. So that's not the uncharted territory for them. I mean, for this team specifically, but not for the organization.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that I don't see it. I do think that they're just going to end up, I think the Capitals are going to take it. And I think that
in Washington,
they're going to be a tough team to get through. But that's why I was hoping the Devils would somehow get the wild card spot, because I think that Schneider would have been able to steal a few games from Washington.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been able to put a few past Holtby, and it would have been a different series. But who knows? If the Flyers win, where they playing Friday, right?
Yeah.
If they play Friday and they take that game on the road, the series just got a little bit more interesting.
It does. And I think Game 2, Flyers losing, were attributed to the Flyer fans and what they've done after that hit that hurt Orlov into the boards when they started throwing their bracelets.
That was Game 3.
That was Game 3?
Because Game 2 was in Washington.
Oh, but Game 3 then.
Because Game 3 they did the tribute to
Ed Schneider.
Yeah.
Who literally found the Philadelphia Flyers, and you throwing
who
the
also just did a bunch to grow the sport of hockey.
Yeah, and basically.
But honestly, think about it.
What?
Kara, let's be level-headed hockey fans right now.
I am
and
a
think
level-headed
about
hockey fan.
Think about the Garden. If they're playing and they put that kind of performance on a night where they're attributing one of the great owners in the league, they're down 5 goals, something like that.
Yeah, but that's attributing to the power plays in the third period.
Right.
After those power
But you're not
plays.
going to you don't think that nobody
Caused
from
by
the
the
Garden was going to
Flyers.
be throwing their thing on the ice? Are you kidding me? Of
I'm not
course
gonna be
they
throwing
would.
my
Not you, but
bracelet.
there's somebody in the Garden who's going to be doing that.
But the whole crowd was involved in it. There's going to be probably 1 or 2 fans.
Kara,
drunk
Ranger fans are
throwing
bad.
stuff.
And
Not
you,
as bad as
and
these
you know,
guys.
I mean,
think that's
I will
so
never defend a Philly fan
disrespectful.
ever because they are their own rare kind of breed. But I think that same thing happens at MSG. It's the same result.
No.
Their fans are frustrated.
And no, but this is what
They
happened.
pay a lot of money for those tickets, and
This
you're going to put on that performance?
But what got me all okay, which I thought it was kind of clever. Sometimes the Flyer fans, I gotta give them credit for what they did, just a little bit. But what happened was during the third period, Flyers Bellemare delivered a dangerous hit to Capitals Dmitry Orlov that led to a penalty because Orlov was bleeding and it was a double minor. And one of the fans threw one of the bracelets at Orlov in his face while he was getting treated. Okay, I would not do that personally, but. That I don't know.
You thought it was funny.
Yeah, but that's what
I just think that
started
fans
everything.
fan is short for fanatic, and things like that are going to happen.
Yeah, but what happens? But what happens is they're white bracelets, and they
They
blend
gave
in
those
with
at the Garden too, by the way, on Tuesday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get me one?
No, I didn't.
Thanks, Alyssa. but these white bracelets, they blended in with the ice, and as a result, players can't see the bracelets on the ice. So God forbid they skate over the bracelets and they get hurt. And Wade Simmons and Alexander Ovechkin were begging the crowd and the fans to stop doing this because number one, it's delaying the game, and if they kept doing it, there would be a penalty. And as a result, there was a penalty. There was a delay of game penalty. But just telling the fans to stop because you could injure a player on the ice, and if I'm a fanatic, I wouldn't want my Flyer to get injured.
Right.
And it's playoffs. I think that was kind of stupid on their part too.
But I see, I don't know. It's just they're frustrated, like I said.
I know you're frustrated, but take your frustration out somewhere else. Don't start throwing things on the ice. That's what I think. It's a wrong way of going about it. And I thought.
Philly fans have never been the.
I know the classiest fan in the bunch.
Or like the staple fan you'd want to be. Like.
Yeah, I know, but just seeing.
I feel like there's always a story coming out of Philly about something the fan did in the parking lot or at Pat and Gino's or something.
But the context behind it being that it was Ed Snyder's night and that it was a tribute to him. I think that's what.
And I really thought they were gonna take that game because they scored 18 seconds into the first period, and I was like, all right, that's a good start.
Yeah, but then after that, I just
because Holtby's terrible on the road, terrible. Oh, he's like 2-10 or something like that. Well, now he'd be 3-11, but
But still, it's still a terrible record. It's way below 500, I must say.
Terrible on the road.
But we'll see what happens. I hope the Flyers
In the
win.
playoffs, specifically in the playoffs.
If Claude Giroux wakes up and starts playing like he played during the season, and he's had, I think, 61 points in 60 playoff games, which he has produced a point in almost every single playoff game he's played in.
I love
Besides
Claude
this
Giroux.
series, except yesterday, he created his first point on that assist. But if Claude Giroux wakes up, I think they have a chance of winning.
Whenever someone talks about Claude Giroux, you know what I think of? Remember in 2012 when they played, they had the Winter Classic between the Rangers and the Flyers?
Oh, yeah, I love
And they had
that.
the 24/7
Yes.
series, and he was mic'd up during the game, and so there was the Rangers were setting up behind the net, Hank's in the net, and he goes to Hank, "Hey, Hank, you gonna let one by tonight?" And it was just, like, so, like, friendly and funny, and I don't, for some reason, that, like, every time I see him, I just think of him, and, like, it just made me like him. And, I'm, like, anti-Flyer fan,
but
and
it
any
makes you personable,
anti-orange in the NHL, I usually, can't stand. But, like,
me neither.
I don't know, ever since that, I'm like, oh, that was, like, kind of cool that he, I don't know. It was
I don't
really,
know. You with these 24/7s, you kind of relate to the players even more.
I love
'cause
when
you
they,
see
like,
their
it's like Hard
personal
Knocks for football.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, the 30 and 30 MLB Network does. And
Yeah. And you raise for players more. But let's segue into New York Rangers.
No, let's go Islanders first.
We're going to go to Islanders. We're going to avoid. What's going on
Let's
here?
go. Let's do the Rangers after. Save the best for last.
I like your thinking, girlie. Well, the Islanders lost yesterday, and now the series is tied 2-2 against the Florida Panthers. And I think this was a pretty good game for the Florida Panthers. They dominated most of the game with the chance that
You know what? They
had.
are not a third period team at all. Like that.
The
I don't know if it's
Islanders?
because the Panthers. I think that I don't know if it's because they're a young team. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. But I think these two teams are so evenly matched, and it's been a fun series to watch.
No, it has.
But you just see their team is tired, and the third period comes around, like they're tired. And Luongo, he's a hot cold guy, so he had a good game yesterday. They're probably gonna lose the next game because he's just that kind of player.
Yeah.
And defensively speaking, neither of these teams have any. So, like Boychuk and Letty, you haven't heard their name at all the entire series.
I saw them on the ice, but I didn't really. I saw them; they were on the ice, but I didn't see them producing.
Yeah,
or
like,
doing anything
the Islanders are
beneficial. But they're
Grice has been
Grice,
playing well
you know,
for them,
he's been
very well.
keeping the team in the game that whole time. They were giving a lot of odd man rushes away, and there was a lot of takeaways too, and this turnovers.
And Yager scored the second goal yesterday.
No,
for them,
Yager
right?
assisted on it. He got his first point in the series.
Oh, I thought it was the goal.
Yager, you could see that his age is really.
Well, he's like what,
Taken
40-something
aback.
years old, like,
I
and
know-
still he
I
still led
know,
the
but I
team in
think-
the regular season with points.
Yeah, but with the playoffs, you could see it's taken a toll on him because Yager isn't what he used to be in the regular season. You could tell he's not producing as much, and this is when you have to rely on the younglings to wake up and score some goals for the Florida Panthers. And what I found interesting with even this series and a lot of the series is what's going on with these coaches' challenges and these reviews and what is going on here.
There's been a lot of blown calls, I think. That especially in the series particularly. They just haven't been getting the calls right, or they're being. I wonder how many coaches challenges have been overturned in the playoffs this so far, because
Yeah.
I mean, one happened on Tuesday for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I think, happened in this series.
Yeah, because now they added these blue line cameras, which is a new addition to the playoffs, just to make
Like
offsides
offsides.
more accurate. Which, okay, then why do we have linesmen on the ice? Why don't we just install cameras all around the rink, and every time there's something going on, like a red light goes on or a whistle just goes out of nowhere? Because let's leave it to the linesman's discretion, because what I think the whole regular season would be different, and the whole playoff picture would be different as a result of these cameras, I think, with these offside calls, because I don't think it would be where it is today, the playoff picture.
I
with
think
the
that it's
teams.
weird for them to be emulating something this late into the season,
Yeah, I don't
and
like it.
not have had a previous practice with it, because, like, some of the calls, for example, for the Rangers,
Derek Brassard.
seem too close to overturn, but there's no precedent for it, so why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's not like there's
yeah.
a case behind it they can refer to and be like, okay, well, in the regular season we did this for this play, and it was very similar, so
There's nothing there.
there's nothing like that.
They look at these like milliseconds, like even if the little bit of the skate comes off the ice, a little bit, it's an offside. Like, are you kidding me? Let's look it through the naked eye. I don't need the more accuracy of these cameras.
I mean, if you're gonna use them, then just get the call right, but have some type of precedent within it to make sure you're doing the right,
I'm confused
making the
now.
right call.
What is offsides now? What is a goal now? I don't know what's going on. The NHL needs to give me some type of standard. You know, just like,
and I
release a press release and give me the rules of what the standards are now to call what is an offsides and what is a goal now. Because now I'm confused too as a fan because these cameras are being installed out of nowhere. Let's put the money towards something useful. Why do we need these cameras?
I do think the Islanders are going to take this series. I do. And I think that they're going to find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals because I can see them beating Detroit and I can see them beating Tampa. And it's like we talked about this a little bit before. Like, it's just a weird Stanley Cup playoff. So there's, like, no – besides the Capitals. Yeah. But like I said, everyone in the hockey world is just, like, kind of holding their breath and waiting for the Capitals to collapse because they always do around this time of year.
I'm waiting for them to collapse.
But,
I'm excited.
It's one of those things. There's no real team where you can be like, yep, they're the ones who are going to skate all the way to the finals.
Yeah, particularly in the Eastern Conference. I think in the Western Conference you do have those
think about it. It took so long for everything to shake out to finally be the right standings.
I think it's always that with the Eastern Conference because you never know who's going to be a part of that Stanley Cup final. You don't know. There's no definite answer when you fill out your bracket because you just don't know what's going to happen. It's so unpredictable. With the Western Conference, you kind of have an idea of who's the top dog in that conference, but you have no idea with the Eastern. It's so different. It's so versatile too, which I love. I love watching the games, but as a Range fan, it gives me a heart attack because you never know what's going to happen. Can we now talk about the New York Rangers before I get like... Sure. Okay, what are we doing?
We're not playing hockey in the second and third period. That's what we're not doing.
We're not shooting because we got 17 shots on goal
and
last
4.
game.
Oh my! It was terrible.
What are we doing, guys? I don't. Oh, minute. Like we were.
I don't understand why
they're
okay. They took out what was the goalie's name?
Zadkloff.
Yeah, they took him out
and they put in Murray.
Yeah, and again he's starting tonight because Fleury's out. Like, take advantage of this. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, as soon as they overturned that call on the Hayes goal, that the offsides play on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Shea had the offside.
It took all of the gas out of them.
This is what frustrates me with the Rangers. Why does always one play change the momentum of the game with them? It's like if something doesn't go their way. And it does it
on both sides, negatively and positively.
Like, I understand they scored a shorthanded goal. Rick Nash scored a shorthanded goal after that. I understand that. But I feel like that play, that change of goal, that no-goal call, change the whole
I agree.
dynamic of the team, the whole game. What are we doing? Why can't we just move on from it and just play?
Like, they came out the third period like they were down 3-1 in the series. Like, they passed the puck. Like, Keith Yandel, can you take a shot from the point, please? Like, you're killing me.
He has a good shot on the point. Like, I always stress, he always has a good shot on the point, but he doesn't utilize it.
And the Capitals block some. I mean, the Penguins are just blocking shots.
Well, the Rangers are leading something in the NHL playoffs. They're leading the NHL
What, face-off losses?
In hits.
Yeah, that's actually true. They
49.3 hits per game.
In game 2.
Yeah, wasn't there like 50 hits or
57 hits, the most ever in a regulation playoff game in the history of the franchise.
So there is physicality to the game, but there's no goal scoring, and you know what wins? Goal scoring. Where are you?
You can't win a playoff game with one goal. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not. And
he's a backup goalie. Like, make him look like a backup goalie.
If you score more than one goal on this guy, he will get shaken up. He won't know what to do because he doesn't have any experience, and you're making him gain more and more confidence. And when a goalie gains confidence, he's gonna make saves. You gotta put pressure on the goalie, and we keep stressing this New York Rangers, and I don't know what we have to do. Do we have to go on the ice and push it to the goalie? If you screen the goalie and if you pressurize
There's
him,
nobody in front of the net either, and they always score when someone's in front of the net.
And Lundqvist is used to this presser, so we have nothing to say about him. He's been playing flawlessly, okay? I think he has. He's kept this team in the game. I don't care what anybody says. And what's frustrating is we cannot penetrate the neutral zone.
They can't make passes in the neutral zone either.
No, we can't. I hate when they dump in the puck and go after it. While we're playing fetch, go fetch the puck. Like, what are we doing? Why are we dumping the puck in their zone? Try to penetrate the neutral zone. We have to find a way. And I think this the shot blocking situation that the Penguins have, I think it's really hurting the New York Rangers.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to get a shot through. That's what I think. Like, saying, like, even when these goalies are their backup goalie are both giving up huge rebounds and the Rangers are not taking advantage of it at all. They're not getting shots on net when they are in the offensive zone. Like, I think I would like to see the numbers of the time that they spent in their offensive zone on Tuesday night, because it had to be like less than half the period.
No, it was probably very dismal.
Maybe a fourth. Maybe, and that's being very nice.
No, I don't know.
They have to win tonight. Tonight's a must-win.
No, tonight's a must-win. I don't care. If we go
absolutely.
to the series 2-2, I'm happy. We have to win at home.
They
That's
just
the
love
big
playing.
thing.
You know, the Rangers love Game 7s. They
And
love Game 7s.
They do. And I hate Game 7. I don't know what. But with the fans, too. I don't hear you, Garden faithful. Where are you? I feel like when something bad happens, I think when they overturn that goal, the fans just stop cheering, too. I'm like, where are we, New York Ranger fans? The atmosphere needs to be there too tonight too, because I think the fans, it's like they're part of the team, and they'll bring up the New York Rangers. And I don't know, Eric Stahl needs to wake up a little bit. Who else needs to wake up on this team?
Everybody, the entire team. Mark Stahl actually played well.
Mark Stahl played well. Rick Nash has been playing pretty decent. JT Miller, I'm not gonna say anything about him because he's been producing. Derek Stepan has been shooting the puck pretty well. It's just
Brassard and Zuccarello.
we need to find a way to mesh.
And Kreider.
And Kreider needs to wake up. We need to find a way to mesh, and we need to find a way to score goals, and that's going to make us win the games. I don't know what else to say about this team. I don't know. I'm not AV.
I don't know, but if I'm telling you, if this weekend does not go well,
Don't talk to me.
don't listen to the show next week.
Oh, don't, because we're going to be... Oh, there might be some explicatives as a result. But we'll see what happens. But, guys, we got to shift to another sport that we all love.
Meet the Met, meet the Met, step right up and greet the Met.
Guess what
So
team
we're
we're
talking
talking about now?
I just got an update on my phone.
What happened?
With the 6 home run in 8 games, Bryce Harper now has an 8 total and is tied for MLB lead with Rockies' Trevor Story. Just give him the NL MVP already, please.
It's only
Jesus.
a month
He's
into the
unbelievable.
season. Let's all calm down. Like, everyone's now comparing. I've seen like 5 articles around Neil Walker versus Daniel Murphy. What are we doing here?
He went 4 for 5 yesterday, Neil Walker, all right? So calm down.
This is the best Neil Walker has ever hit in his whole entire career. Okay? So he's been hitting home runs. His batting stance has changed substantially. He used to do this little like toe tap, and now he's stepping into the pitch, which kind of changes your mentality too, because if you're hitting so well, you're like, oh, this was the change I needed, and now I'm gonna swing the bat. But he's hit 3 home runs on his right side, the right side of the plate, out of the 11 chances he's had to hit. So 3 out of the 11, 3 home runs out of 11 tries. That is pretty good stat. And he has a .293 average. Tuesday, he had a multi-home run game, 11 RBIs, 6 home runs. He has power. Thank you, Kevin Long, for changing his batting stance, because I could attribute this success of him to you. And I don't know. I know Daniel Murphy's hitting. His batting average is .429. Everyone's happy. Congratulations, Daniel Murphy. But let's focus on the New York Mets. Why are we comparing? I'm happy we got Neil Walker.
I'm just saying that if Walker stays hot, Cespedes keeps doing Cespedes things.
Oh, they're a bromance.
Duda,
Did you see them?
I know. It's like the weirdest thing. Why does Cespedes have like a bromance with all these like really, like Cespedes, Syndergaard and Walker is very odd.
I know, but I love it.
I think that having Conforto, Cespedes, Duda, and Walker at the core of the lineup, like if those guys can all be consistent at the same time, and I mean the Mets are hitting home runs like it's like base hits at this point. They're not doing anything else but hitting home runs. That's a heart of a lineup that's going to be very scary for the NL.
Yeah, and we have back-to-back home runs in the 3rd straight game.
Yeah, I mean Philly, they always just hit really well in that park.
It's a bandbox. That's why people are hitting well. Does anyone have to see the dimensions of the ballpark? Citizens Bank Park is home run central. It's a batter's
But
park.
regardless, you still need to win these games.
No, we do, and we lost yesterday.
Yeah, I mean that was a hard loss, but
I feel like
you're literally watching David Wright degenerate in front of your eyes.
Yeah, like you said last
essentially.
week, you could tell he doesn't have the arm he used to have, and just he dove into this crowd yesterday. He attempted to dive into the crowd, trying to catch a ball. What are you doing? Spinal stenosis.
He's trying to make the plays that he could make when he was young.
I know,
like,
but now we gotta get to reality, dude.
you're right,
And
but
if you
I
want to
mean,
have a career,
regardless, if he didn't go for that ball, we'd be sitting here right now. How could he not have gone to get that ball? Blah,
it
blah,
was
blah.
going in the stands. I knew it was uncatchable. You're not gonna dive in the stands. I don't want an injury. We don't have a third
Want
baseman.
to pull a Cespedes and, take out a few fans and then be sore the next day and not be in the lineup?
No, don't ever do a Cespedes. Okay, that guy we need to bring him a dictionary. Read what does the word hustle mean? Because that's not the word hustle. I said this last week. I don't know what he was thinking on that play. I wasn't a fan of it. But the Mets have been playing well. We're above 500. I'm a happy camper.
No, we're back at 500.
We're back
now.
at 500. We
7-10.
were above 500, but we screwed up yesterday. But that's okay. I'm happy
okay.
with it. It's all right.
I'm glad that Steven Matz is had that good start.
Yeah. No, he was.
That was good.
Was it a shutout? Was it like 6-0, or was that Logan Verrett's start?
Logan Verrett had 6 scoreless innings, I believe.
Yes. Logan Verrett has been coming in clutch as a result of Jacob DeGrom.
But
who
Harvey,
had a
we need to get his. I know that was like the best news that came out of sports all week. Thank God his baby's okay.
I know that was. I was so. Oh, that made me feel so much better.
I know that would have been
what
so
he
sad.
might have been
So
going
sad.
through, and he's such like a great spirit too, on and off the
And his
field.
wife is super nice. She's
Yeah.
always she comes into the store all the time, and she's always really nice.
See, Alyssa has a good story, so
I mean,
it's good that everything's back to normal with them. And I don't know. I'm not worried about.
He's scheduled to make his next start. We
Yeah.
just need Harvey to get back on his track. If that's possible.
He does. You could see he doesn't have
Not
command of his
gonna lie.
fastball.
His mechanics are all off.
It is. You could
He
tell.
said it. He
He's
said
just-
it.
I said it. Okay, good. You know what? I analyzed it and I saw that his mechanics were off, but since he said it, it's written in stone over here. But we'll just see what happens. The Yankees are in a downward spiral, but that's the New York
And
Yankees.
last night, their left fielder, Aaron Hicks, he threw the fastest ever recorded throw from left field. He threw out the runner at home plate. It was 105.5 miles an hour.
I feel bad for the
Catcher. And did you? Well, speaking of feeling bad for a catcher, did you see Paolicelli's branding on his chest? Steve Gelbs tweeted out a picture after Noah Syndergaard's start. I guess the ball either hit Paolicelli in the chest or like a foul ball. I don't know. Either way, one of his throws hit on him, and he was wearing a cross on his neck, and it's imprinted on his chest. Really crazy stuff. So now we're moving on to our Jack Hole of the Week, and staying within our topic of conversation, it's going to go to the Mets front office. There were tons of candidates this week for Jack Hole of the Week.
Oh,
It was
it
a
just came
bad
out yesterday
oh my
too.
God.
These past two, I don't even know
Past
what
couple
to choose
days,
from.
but the title's going to go to the Mets front office for always managing to find a way to pull a few dollars out of everything.
referring to the 9/11 selling of the jersey, specifically Mike Piazza's jersey. But guys, it's back in New York. I'm happy, and it's gonna be in the Mets Hall of Fame, in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's gonna travel around, and in the 9/11 Memorial, it's gonna be traveling around too as a staple in these museums, which is great. I'm very happy. So thank God it fell into the right hands. It was sold over like $300,000. What was it, like 300?
Crazy, some crazy collector.
For just $5,000 for a jersey. But good job, guys,
And honestly, whoever they sold it to, for not just like giving it back, and
I think
when the whole controversy came out, like, why wouldn't you just give it back? Someone had to pay to buy it back, which is like Jack Hole of the Week. Come on.
I feel like it was shady though. It was probably like a third market
Who knows?
collector. You don't know. Probably one of those rich people.
Who knows?
I don't
But
know.
other honorable mention for this week, Jack Hole of the Week, Kurt Schilling, fired from ESPN or terminated. They had a really interesting press release come out with that yesterday. He made some comments about transgenders. Not surprising. This guy can't keep his mouth shut. Andrew Shaw, again, said comments to a ref, homophobic slur. He's also,
Suspended 1 game, fined
Right.
$5,000. Johnny Manziel just being Johnny Manziel. He's always
Josh
Jack
Norman
Hole.
for like not, asking for an absurd amount of money. And who else? There was one more.
I just said the Flyer fans because I thought what they did was a little Jack Hole-y. But I think we covered it all. Kurt Schilling, Andrew Shaw.
Who hit Victor Stahlberg the other day with the slash? Was it Letang?
Oh, we got to talk about...
Letang, right?
The NHL has... I don't know what you're doing. He was supposed to be suspended. He should have been suspended for that.
There wasn't even a penalty given.
It wasn't even a penalty. And
But I
he
guarantee you, within 8 minutes of tonight's game, there'll be a fight.
No, there will be a fight. And number one, if it happened to Sidney Crosby, God forbid, the guy would have been suspended from the NHL.
For the remainder of his career.
Remainder of his life, okay? Okay, here we go, Alyssa. Is it possible that Bryce Harper is getting better and more dominant?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's pitch selection has been significantly improved since last year, so he's definitely going to be somebody. Like I said, give him the NL MVP already. It's done. Kara, could the Flyers be a sleeper in the playoffs, or who is worse, Flyers fans or Vancouver fans?
Vancouver fans are worse because God forbid they lose a Stanley Cup. I do not want to be in Vancouver for that. And Islanders, I think they are a sleeper in the playoffs. I think they could come out of nowhere and just start dominating the field. Did the Eagles make the right move trading their 8th overall pick in this year's draft and their 2017 first-round pick and 2018 second-round pick to the Cleveland Browns?
Chip Kelly just did the Eagles dirty, and that's all there is to it. Is Phil Jackson the problem with the New York Knicks?
Yes, he is. He is the problem. Stop with the triangle system. The New York Knicks cannot adapt to it, and I feel like every single week the New York Knicks are in the news for some controversy or something that he did. And stop showing off your 11 championships. You're living in the past. Move on. And that's it.
Another weekend. Another week.
Oh my goodness.
So sad.
I feel like that went by so quick. This show went by
Every week
fast.
it goes by so fast.
Oh my god. What are we gonna do, Alyssa?
2 more shows left.
2 more shows left?
2 more
I don't
shows.
want to put like the fork into this right now. Oh, but we have to end it. It's 1:55 and well, that is all we have for today. Alyssa and I have to go.
Get ready for tonight's game.
And it's spring break, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm so excited.
So yeah, we're not on next week.
Yeah, we're not. Oh, God. So if you guys want to listen to us, we'll be on YouTube and iTunes. Just search Throw Like a Girl Radio. I'm KaraAnne and Galante.
And I'm Alyssa Paolicelli.
When it's only like 2 more weeks left until we finish finally put
Forever.
an end to this legacy at Brooklyn College of Throw Like a Girl Radio. If you want to contact us or follow us on social media, you can always type in facebook.com/Throw Like a Girl Radio, Twitter @ThrowLikeA_Girl, Instagram Throw Like a Girl Radio. Want to listen to this again? As I said before, we'll be on YouTube and iTunes. Just search Throw Like a Girl Radio. As always, have a great weekend, everybody, and good luck, Rangers!